Welcome to Valuers Outlook, where estate surveyors and valuers offer expert insights to the current economic trends in the real estate sector of Abuja.
Good day, viewers. Welcome to another edition of Valuers Outlook. My name is 𝗓𝗓𝗡𝗦𝗡𝗦. I'm an estate surveyor and valuer, and I'm also the public secretary of the Nigerian Institution of Estate Surveyors and Valuers, 𝗓𝗓𝗧𝗟𝗢𝗢𝗞 Abuja branch. I'll be anchoring this program with my colleague here. Can you introduce yourself, please?
My name is estate surveyor and valuer 𝗦𝗘𝗥𝗦𝗢𝗢. I'm a member of the Publicity Committee Abuja branch. Thank you.
You're welcome on board. And now we have our guest speaker, who is no other person than estate surveyor and valuer 𝗦𝗘𝗥𝗦𝗢𝗢𝗞. She is a fellow of the institution and also the principal consultant of 𝗦𝗘𝗥𝗦𝗢𝗢𝗞 Consulting. She was once a former director, Department of Resettlement and Compensation, FCDA. You're welcome on board.
Thank you very much.
Good to have you here.
I'm glad to be here.
Okay, our topic today will border more on the technicalities surrounding the compensation claim in respect of compulsory acquisition of properties by the governing authority in any state. Now, we all know that a government can revoke any rights of properties owned by property owners, for overriding public interest, such as for development of infrastructures. We also know that they are expected to compensate the affected persons for the loss of these properties. The Land Use Act of 1978 states that these affected persons are not to be left in a worse off condition than they were before. And also, this Land Use Act also stipulates that it is just the value of the unexhausted improvements that is supposed to be given to them and not the land inclusive. So now, Ma, we would like to know, we'd like you to give us your general outlook on this, the level of adequacy these compensation claims are to the affected people, and if it is just, fair, or reasonable. And then secondly, what you think about the Land Use Act, if it's due or necessary for it to be reviewed or amended, or you think the Act is not being interpreted in the right way. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Mamaka.
Thank you.
I'm glad to be given this opportunity to speak a little about the issues concerning resettlement and compensation, especially in the Federal Capital Territory. It is something to be a director, an insider, and it is something else to be an outsider. So I think I have seen the two sides of the coin. I'm in a better position now to discuss this issue. First of all, we will talk about what is resettlement, what is compensation. Compensation can be defined in a layman's language to mean what you can get in lieu of what is being taken away from you. So if government is taking away your land, what is government giving to you to cushion the effect of that action that government has taken? Resettlement is when you move people from one place to another under an organized settlement type of arrangement, so that developmental issues can be handled where they formerly were. So now we are talking about two things here. One is compensation. I would like you to understand that anything government does is according to what the Constitution allows government to do. In the issue of compensation, the Land Use Act clearly states how people will be compensated. They will be compensated under three heads. Number one, crops and economic trees. Two, structures like houses, whatever they have built on that land. Number three, the ground rent for that year if it has been paid. Now, even without expanding on this, you would imagine whether it will be adequate or not. If a piece of land in Asokoro or any other part of Abuja was bought for 200 million from somebody, and he has built, maybe he's now on the German floor level, and you revoke it, what are you going to pay that person that will compensate him for what he has spent on that land? it is only reasonable that when you take away land from somebody, you should be able to give the person an alternative land.
Yes.
Plus the value of what he or she has put on that land, so that the person can take that value of what you have given and take to the new land. But wherefore you have not included land as part of compensation issue, that means the compensation cannot be adequate. Clearly so, because here the land is even much more expensive than whatever you have built on it. So whether it is adequate, the answer is no, it is not. Whether it is fair, of course we know it is not fair. How do you talk of fair? When you are valuing a house that belongs to somebody, we know how you want. If you want to get a fair market value, you go to the market and get the value. But in this case of compensation, you don't use open market value, you use cost of replacement. And the cost of replacement is not even reviewed every year. Sometimes 5 yearly, sometimes 3 yearly if the staff are very proactive and they push for it. So if somebody is valuing your house today and is using the rate where cement was 2005 and now you know the price, how can you get a fair value? I think that if government really needs to revoke your property, government should at least give you an alternative land, then pay you fair value by using market value to replace what has been taken away from you. If that is adequate for what you are asking me, then I'll move on to the issue of resettlement. In the case of resettlement in FCT, where I know, where I've worked as part of the team, it means you are moving people from point A to point B, as was in 𝗓𝗘𝗦𝗡𝗦 village, where they were moved to 𝗓𝗡 resettlement. That was fairly successful. Fairly successful. If we want to know the details of that, I think that will be a matter for another day. But we can say that at least, why was it successful? It was successful because they were moved from 𝗓𝗘𝗦𝗡𝗦 kingdom to 𝗓𝗘𝗧 kingdom. It was not far. So nothing really changed for them. Their chieftains, their chiefdom, everything about their affinity, their cultural values, their brethren, their brotherhood was not very distorted. They were just moved to another side of the road, which is the proper thing to do. Which is the proper thing to do because of the way we do our things. Now, all the other resettlement sites have not been able to take off well because of issues concerning how they were being procured. We have Wasa. It's on about 450 hectares of land. Wasa is on your way between Karishi and 𝗓𝗡. From this 𝗓𝗡 end, the axis, that's where we have Wasa. Wasa is also not too far from the city, but because of the way it was being developed by different agencies in the FCT, it couldn't be achieved. When you have a resettlement program that is being managed by more than 5 agencies with no supervisor, because FCDA is building the houses, STDD is providing water and other infrastructure, Health and Human Services is providing the health facilities, Education Secretariat is providing the schools and other such activities. Meanwhile, there was really nobody who was a boss over all the secretariats directly supervising them. So it was like everybody will come and do his own thing at his own time. So you will see that houses are built, there are no roads, no water, no light, no school, no hospitals. So people will not agree to move. So if government is serious about resettlement, it has to do it the proper way. It probably needs an agency that will oversee this, so that anywhere they want to develop, they will develop it holistically with everything there, including something as little as recreation, where they can go to watch movies. And above all, remember that the baggy man of 2024 is not the same baggy man of 1978, when you could tell them many things and they will believe you. Resettlement is a good program if it is well done. But where it is not well done, it will remain a problem. The way both Ďarušeľi and Wasa have been a problem to the city.
Thank you, ma'am. Please, I don't know if you can differentiate between this and then the land swap that happened at Gwagwa. What exactly is it, ma'am?
Okay, thank you very much. Before I go to land swap, I would like to talk about something else called integration, which we also introduced and hope that government will still use. Integration means that when you come to a place and you see people there, they are human beings, they deserve everything good, they are entitled to the same thing as every other person that came to the city. We had recommended that some part of the land be taken out for them. Either we get investor to build it for them and hand over, or we allocate it to them. How they build it is their business, because we have given them the land. That is what they are entitled to, before we give the rest to other Nigerians. But the situation where you come and just allocate land belonging to some people and pretend as if you didn't see anybody there, it does not make sense. It doesn't make sense. There are places that have been like 𝗓𝗓𝗧. 𝗓𝗓𝗧 has been completely allocated without taking cognizance of the fact that you met human beings there. How are you going to achieve it? But if when people came, they now said, okay, how many people did we meet in 𝗓𝗓𝗧? Let us share land for them, this quantity. Then the rest government can use for development purposes. It would have been perfect, but they didn't do that. So we had recommended in Nyanya that government should give part of it to the indigenous people, which the minister at that time graciously approved, and the Nyanya people were given part of Nyanya to use as their ancestral home, as their ancestral land, complete with their schools, with their playground, with everything, church, mosque, everything. So if they decide along the line to sell it, that one is a different matter. But government has provided for them. They cannot come back and complain. So that is about integration. Land swap is a different kettle of fish. Land swap is a program where government gives land to developers that are supposed to provide all the basic infrastructures, water, light, roads, all those. Then they will share with government at a certain ratio agreed upon by government and the developers. Then government will take their own and then do what they want. The developer will do what he wants with his own. However, in the process of doing that, we know that most parts of the town that are fairly developed, there are indigenous people. So government said, when you meet indigenous people, the Department of Resettlement and Compensation will help you, give you an alternative place to build houses and move the indigenous people we have met in that place. So we have land earmarked for this purpose, for all the land swap programs. I think it's only Gwagwa that
Yeah,
really,
Gwagwa, we've heard of Gwagwa. I think it happened 2 years ago.
yes, they started and they're still there. 2 years ago, they paid for compensation on like 200 hectares of land. So they still have a lot to pay. They pay for, and they're supposed to resettle the people there somewhere along Gbagbolada road. We have, and when it involves other Nigerians,
Yes.
the program is relocation.
Relocation.
Yes.
In your experience as the director of Compensation and Resettlement Department, we would like to know whether there has been anything like this where they relocate people. You know?
Yes, they have been.
There have been.
Yes.
And
Like in Orozo, we had the Orozo relocation scheme. We had in Karishi, we had in Gidandaya. These projects were started mainly when they started constructing Nyanya Kefi Road. You know, on the, if you were here, okay, you couldn't have been here then. When we came to Abuja, that Nyanya Kefi Road was just one lane, one small lane. So all this expansion you are seeing are where people were living in, or having shops, or having different things. So when they wanted to do, you know, first phase, second phase, third phase, as they are moving, as they expanded, we're moving out the people for them to be able to do the work, Federal Ministry of Works and Housing. So all those people, government they just gave them alternative land. So they are to build by themselves because it is not a resettlement program. If it was a resettlement program, government will build for them. So that is what gave rise to 𝗓𝗓𝗓, gave rise to Orozo in part, because Orozo has 3 parts. They had the ones they used to resettle the indigents in Orozo. They had the ones that the Department of Resettlement and Compensation used to relocate all those on that Nyanya axis, all those areas that government needed to do the work.
Ma'am, do government just give them land, or in addition to giving them land, they give them a local plan which they follow to build the houses, or just give them land? Because I know
is it in relocation?
In terms of relocation, yes.
In relocation, before now, I don't think they really gave them designs. But before I left my office, we did 4 prototype designs, which we got approval from development control. And then we now said anybody who wants to build should choose from any of these. 3-bedroom bungalow, 3-bedroom duplex, 4-bedroom duplex, whatever. I think there was one more that we also, I think we now had semi-detached or so, depending on the size of your land. And we now said, if you think you don't want any of this 4, you will need to do your own design that will be approved by development control for you to build. And then there was a question you asked me, which I didn't answer initially, which was, do I think that the Land Use Act is still
amendments
is still good to go? My answer right away is no. It is no longer serving the purpose for which it was met. The Land Use Act is not allowing government officials to deal justly with people that they meet on their land. Where you take away somebody's land and pay him for crops and economic trees. I mean, how can such a law be just? It is definitely not just. Where you cannot give him an alternative land, pay him for the land. I don't know if you understand me.
Of course,
if you can give him an alternative land, give him an alternative land, pay him compensation for the improvement he has made, let him replicate those improvements on the land. But where you don't have land for any reason, pay him compensation for the land. But whatever valuation method estate surveyors use to come to the calculation, let it be fair. Let every Nigerian be treated with equal dignity.
Thank you so much, Ma. I appreciate this was insightful. And we appreciate this and we thank you. I hope you're able to learn something today. Till next time. See you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.